How's it going, ladies and Bruces? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to Novena Diabolos. It's time for us to find another place to explore. We might as well just keep working through the forest. That's how I see it. I know when we were doing the people, I was going through each one a little bit, but I don't know why I changed my mind with this one and just went through each one. But it's working well. We got a lot of clues already. Construction site east. Let's do it. Though we're already nearly out of points. I go to the construction site east of the forest. A construction site located east of the forest. This village was made only for the devil. It seems like the necessary construction materials were procured from the forest. In other words, the villagers visited this place a lot. They probably left a lot behind. Okay, I should focus on this place today. One cardboard box in particular stands out. It looks like it was sealed with tape, but the back is open. Was it torn open? I take a peek inside without much hope of finding anything. There's a magazine inside. Monthly magazine. An extremely interesting occult magazine. I don't know if this will help, but I should take it with me. I'll read that later. I spot a long metal box. The box is firmly locked with a rusty lock. Do I need a key for this? I don't think I can open it just yet. I should have a look around. I spot a cardboard box. As I open it, it reveals a pile of books. There might be something useful in here. I look through the books. Nothing special. I close the box and get back up. Alright, should I keep looking around? The inside of the warehouse is absurdly empty. I notice some tools lying around. Wait a minute. I suddenly remember that last rusty lock I couldn't open before. I think I might be able to open it with one of these. Hammer! Alright, this should do the trick. I turn around, hammer in hand. Bam! I lift up the hammer. If this hammer doesn't crack the lock, I mumble to myself, and bring down the hammer with all my might. The hammer hits the rusty lock in just the right spot. Okay, the lock is broken. Perfect. Nothing to stop me from taking a look at what's inside now. I toss the hammer aside and carefully start opening the box. It's a book giving off an ominous vibe. It's volume 1 of something. Oh, it's the Undead one. Undead Survey Diaries volume 1. There are writings of an... Yeah, okay, we're going to read that in a moment as well. I see. This will help me understand the identifying characteristics of the undead. Good. What else have we got? Take another look around, inside. I look inside and all around, but nothing stands out. I take a step back, scratching my head. A bunch of books catch my eye. Someone must have left them behind. I look through the books to carefully check for anything useful. It's another volume 1. It's a book about past events. Oh, yes! Fox Spirit Hunting Diaries volume 1. Okay, we've already read that bit. Alright, we'll read that shortly too. That's going to be good. 2 books stand out. Was someone reading these? I flick through the pages. Looks like a regular novel. Huh? Something is wedged in between the books. This is... It looks like a leaflet that was handed out in the village. It might contain some helpful clues about this village. I tuck the flyer into my pocket. Alright. Let's see what else we can find. The forest is covered in fog. The atmosphere is very gloomy. It feels like something is about to happen at any moment. I have goosebumps all of a sudden. I should finish my investigation quickly and leave. Agreed. Strongly agree. What else is there? Oh. Books and magazines are scattered across the floor. I look through them one by one to see whether there's anything useful. One book in particular stands out. It looks like it's about the fox spirit. I don't think it'll be a big help, but I put it in my bag all the same. I've looked around some more, but I couldn't find anything else. Alright. That's all for now. We'll read those in a minute. It took too long. I should go before the villagers find out. I take a look at what I've gathered so far on my phone. 4 pieces of monster information as well as 6 village logs. I should give this a careful read. I agree. And we're going to do that right now. Alright. Let's see what we got. So we got a new undead, and we'll read this one, because it's number 1. Undead Survey Diaries 1. How about the author? Yon Hua Shin is one of today's finest Korean horror writers, having made her grand debut with the work Teeth of Rot, following up with The Hanging Man and Nightcrawler. After dabbling in the mystery genre for a while, she returned to her roots with Stinging Stares, a modern interpretation of the classic undead mythos. It is a compilation of the actual diary notes she kept while staying in the rural village for 15 days in order to research the undead. Author's words. When I revealed that the Stinging Stares was based on my personal experience, many people wanted to know more. 2 years have passed since that book was published. I think it's time for me to finally tell the whole story. This is a not a fictional tale by a horror writer, but a very terrifying true story rooted in the occult. Month X, Day X, Sunny. Tackling my new project caused me quite a few headaches. My last 2 books, after Nightcrawler, failed miserably. Another dud would really tarnish my reputation as a writer, so there's a lot riding on the next project. I wanted to be pure horror again with a focus on the occult, and decided to pick the undead as the focal point. Is it wrong of me to do so? To turn such a serious matter into entertainment? I spoke to a well-known occult researcher, Hon Young-ji, on the phone. She had already helped me greatly 4 years ago, when I worked on Nightcrawler. We agreed to meet up tomorrow. I hope she can offer me some guidance. I visited Hyun Young-ji today. She told me that she had really enjoyed Nightcrawler and was looking forward to working together again. We reviewed a lot of material with potential for a novel, and some of the things she showed me were completely new to me. In particular, a bunch of newspaper articles about a string of serial killings. The articles were short, without photos, and in all of them the victims acted terrified, and unlike themselves before going missing and turning up dead soon thereafter. Hon Young said that this is the work of an undead, with a straight face, and showed me more material. I understand that she's an occult researcher and really means it, but all of it just sounded a little too far out there for an ordinary person like me. The material itself, however, was quite interesting, so I happily borrowed it from her. I'll start working on my way through it all tomorrow. Okay, so we got Monster Type, a monster of fear. Fox Spirit Hunting Diaries 1. Chun Ho Kim was one of the greatest hunters during the Japanese colonial era. He kept meticulous hunting diaries. One in particular that sticks out is from his later years, about the hunt of the fabled nine-tailed fox spirit. Aided by Watane Han, an expert on the legendary creature, Chun Ho Kim was tasked with hunting the fox spirit. I don't know where the white came from. And their story is one that rivals modern novels in suspense. Surprisingly, these diaries were proven to be authentic and genuine, with characters and events matching other historical records of the time. Did this mythical fox really even exist? Editor's notes. 1919, month X, day X. Chun Ho Kim received a secret letter from Tadasaburo Yamamoto. Yes, the same Tadasaburo who wrote the Jong Ho Gi, a businessman known for his love for hunting and capturing wild predators. The contents of his letter are as followed. My fellow hunters, it is imperative that you read this at once. First of all, let me be clear that this letter contents are confidential. Sharing it would have dire consequences. During my last expedition, I hunted 2 great tigers in Hamgyeong. During this expedition, witnesses reported seeing a 9-tailed fox, which allegedly got shot and managed to escape despite its wounds. The expedition came to an abrupt halt the very next day, when all the witnesses were found dead, filled with fear. I'm secretly working with the provincial government to investigate the strange matter to find out what happened. Upon the receipt of this letter, go see the local chief of police at the provincial office immediately. This is an excerpt from Chun Ho's diary. Beneath it is a small handwritten note by Chun Ho Kim. This man appears to be too cowardly to hunt the beast himself. However, he knew he could not ignore Tadasaburo's orders. Retired, in hopes of living his last remaining years in peace, he felt deep down that this may well be his last hunt. A monster of fear, again. Okay. I don't think that helps us with any of the cases we've got at the moment. Important note to all villagers. As of today, we are proud to confirm every household has working water and electricity. Though it was a long and difficult undertaking, our connections to various officials have enabled us to siphon power from other towns in the province, allowing us to keep Hope Hill's existence a secret without sacrificing quality of life. We are still highly dependent on generators and our own limited fuel reserves, however, so please bear in mind all lights have to be turned off at 11 p.m, our motel being the only exception. Administrator Ho Chung Sol. Monsters. The legendary 9-tailed fox spirit is one commonly found all over East Asia. One of the first mentions of them in classic of Mountains and Seas goes, the land of Xingqiu lies north of Tianwu. The foxes there have 4 legs and 9 tails. Geographically, this country of foxes appears to be located where Korea is. In East Asian folklore, especially China and Japan, these fox spirits are able to mesmerize people and assume the shape of beautiful, evil women. This is different in Korean folklore, where these fox spirits show great efforts to become human and often face severe tragedy in their quest to do so. It is said they eat have to eat 1,000 livers and then marry a man and abstain from all manner of violence for 1,000 days to become human. A curse which makes one's imagination run rampant and explains why some of them would prefer to remain human indefinitely and shed their primal predatory nature. Famous fox spirit researcher Watane Han, active during the Japanese colonial era, established many theories. Fox spirits gain new powers by entering a forced contract with the devil, abandoning free will and their own life in the process. In other words, their struggle to become human is an attempt at escaping from this otherwise eternal evil. These theories are still a major influence on modern-day researchers, and the link between fox spirits and the devil is a common theory, accepted with demonology circles. About monsters manipulation. Avid readers of our magazine will already know there are various types of monsters, right? Since we've received a lot of questions on the topic, let's take a closer look. Today is all about manipulation, also called deception. You want to know about the attributes of monsters who employ this trick? The first sign is an extreme display of confidence, the classic tale of a handsome man or woman using their looks and confidence to manipulate others has been done to death. It never gets old, does it? Maybe deep down we actually want to be seduced by a beast and simply follow our darkest desires. If you had to think of a mascot and prime example of this type, it would no doubt be the lust-filled manipulative succubus. But remember that even they are all individual, and some prefer causing nightmares instead of erotic dreams. Another example, known to never be of another type, would be the well-known siren. Their demonic songs are known to lead humans straight into ruin. I guess the thought of finding true love out in the open sea is simply one too good to be true, right, my sailors? Right, my homies? If you suddenly find yourself in love out there, think twice. Those butterflies in your stomach might be bats after all. Nice. Actually, the case is monster type deception. Monster type deception. Fox and undead are monsters of fear. So that knocks out Fox here and here. Okay, both of those are knocked down to Vampire and Succubus. Cool. Alright, let's move on. I finished my dinner and returned to my accommodation. Phew! I'm really tired. I've been in plenty of rough situations during my career as a PD, but nothing compares to what I'm going through right now. I wonder what my next step should be. Lost in thought, I stare into the empty space before me. I feel like a complete idiot. Oh yeah, right, my evening routine. I stand up while muttering to myself. My evening hours are reserved for casual meetups with the women around here. Oh boy, I still don't have a clue who the real human is yet. What scares me the most is that, slowly but surely, I'm starting to get attached to them. Stay focused, Junsung. Stay focused. Only one of them is a real human being. I need to make her trust me. On the last day, she'll need to blindly trust me during the most crucial moment of all. Alright, now who to meet up with? Well, based on my, what I've learnt so far, seeing the first one and second one can only be Mina and Nari, it would be fair to assume that the first one is one of them and the second one is the other one, meaning that both of them are probably not human, which means I should probably avoid those two specifically. Wait, why is she red? Okay, well anyway, so let's skip Mina and Nari for now because they're both probably demons. Let's go to Sumi. Oh, I hope she doesn't get naked again. Yeah, she goes see Sumi. The abandoned school. The building is surrounded by a hazy layer of ominous fog, and the vacant former playgrounds look just as unwelcoming as it did on my last visit. Sumi. She's here as well. As I ask myself why she'd choose this uninviting spot of all places. My attention is drawn to the large bag that's next to her. I didn't think about it too much last time, but that's actually a really heavy bag for someone like her to carry around. I wonder what she's carrying around with her. What are you looking at? Oh, it's nothing. It's just your bag. It looks like it's filled to the brim. These are purification tools. Ah, of course. Wait, what? Flashbacks of what I had to endure last time invade my mind, playing out like a repressed fever dream. Naked Sumi drowning me in a mixture of water and spit is something that I'd hoped to quickly forget. No chance. Will you do the same things as last time? No, something else. Something else? Sit down. Without giving me a satisfying answer, Sumi orders me to sit, pointing at the designated spot. With a deliberate loud sigh, to make my frustration known, I hesitantly take my seat. Sumi pays no mind to my audible concerns, and is already pulling something out of her bag. Close both your eyes. Put your hands together. Will I be repeating the same words as last time while my eyes are closed? Just sit down in reverence. In deep penitence, owed to the impurity of your soul. I really want to know what I did that's worthy of me having to repent. But something tells me that asking Sumi won't net me an answer. Might net me a slap on the face though. But I just close my eyes and put my hands together. There's a non-stop bombardment of strange sounds that make my imagination run wild. What the hell is she trying to do this time? What's going on? I can no longer fend off my curiosity and open my eyes a little. Whoa! What is happening? As I sit there panicked, embarrassed, plus filled with a wide variety of other emotions, Sumi approaches me. Wait. What's... Do not move. As soon as Sumi is close enough to me, she grabs me by the back of my neck with one hand, while pressing the other hand against my forehead. Om Namonga Virechana Maha Mudra Manomani Padma Zvara Pravachan. Sumi keeps repeating words I can't make sense of, and presses against my forehead to put me in a laying position. In such a sensory overload that I can't resist, I lie down and let her hand lead me. As soon as I'm completely on my back, she picks up what appears to be a stick made of bamboo. She looks at me with determined, glaring eyes. Hey, don't tell me you're gonna... It hurts a little. Be strong. No. This isn't... I think there's been some miscommunication. Sumi starts beating me with the bamboo stick and doesn't hold anything back. Arms, legs, face, balls. Hey, what are you doing? I desperately try to crawl away. My survival instincts are now in full effect, especially after that last hit. Stay. Hold still. Why did I come here? Lord have mercy. Am I being dragged around? I already noticed this before, but her enormous strength simply doesn't match her small frame. No, please. No, please. Wait a minute. Stop. I find myself crouched and slumped over, not knowing what to do. At that exact moment, the vicious blows suddenly stop. I look at Sumi with teary eyes, astonished, embarrassed, humiliated, you name it. I feel it. Sumi suddenly walks away. She's muttering one of her incantations again. Why are you on the ground? Stand up. Huh? Huh? What are you even saying? You put me on the ground in the first place. I finished with the ceremony, so get up. Get up and pray. I don't know if it's because of the brutal, barbaric bamboo beating or a general sense of defeat, but I find myself acting surprisingly obedient and submissive and start to pray. Let's see. I think it's great, merciful, harmonious tree. No mischievous thoughts. Yeah, something tells me following her orders is the smart choice here. I start praying, vowing to myself to do my best, even though I still highly disagree with the savage way she treated me. Great, merciful, harmonious tree. I won't fail again. I'm giving it my all, trying to suppress any other thought that could possibly interfere. Meanwhile, Sumi has been at it with another strange dance routine, and now has kneeled down, talking to herself while blankly staring at the sky. After a while, she slowly stands up. It's over. Whew. I exhale loudly and lean back. Here I was, thinking the worst that could happen would be an uncomfortable spit shower. Instead, I got beaten to a helpless fetal position. I feel pathetic. I look at Sumi, and have to try really hard to suppress my rising anger. It's hard to tell what she's thinking, but she looks strangely satisfied. It's over now? I have concluded the procedure. I can already sense a lot more purity coming from you. I've been wondering this ever since last time. What exactly happens to you while you do your thing? It's only when a shaman directly communicates with God that their wisdom reaches its peak. However, these are things you do not need to know. After being oddly talkative for a moment, Sumi returns to her old, much less forthcoming self. Looks like even she got excited herself there for a moment. Alright, maybe this is my chance at an actual conversation. That concludes our business. Leave. Leave? That's it, just like that? Busy bees shall not waste honey. I'm sorry, what? Honey? No answer, as always. Sumi waves her hand a little without even bothering to look at me. I still find it hard to accept this cold demeanour of hers. My original plan had been to talk to her about some things, but her general disinterest in my ceremony-induced fatigue make me unable to even bother. I also leave the abandoned school without bothering to say goodbye. Ouch. While walking away from the school, I belatedly feel the aching pain in the delicate areas that Sumi hit with the stick. Though the impact sounds made it seem much more painful than it actually was, I have no doubt this will leave some nasty bruises. I gently rub the parts that hurt the most and start thinking about everything that just happened. She's in direct spiritual contact with a much higher being, or so she claims. In that case, there's a high probability she plans on exercising the evil in this village that I've encountered myself. I assume that's what she was doing, though I have my doubts if any human can handle such a wicked foe. During my demonic encounter, my whole body was frozen stiff. It was completely overwhelming. Even if she has the ability to exorcise evil spirits, is she properly equipped to deal with that caliber of foe? Filled with a rising sense of anxiety, I look back in the direction of the abandoned school. I think about Sumi. Despite everything, she appears fragile and weak on the outside. Is it really okay for me to leave her alone in a place like this? I look at the school while lost in thought a while longer, then head towards my next destination. I don't have time to waste either. Alright, we got time for one more. Let's move to the next one on the list. Oh, maybe it's nighttime. Never mind. It's nighttime. Having finished everything on my schedule, I'm back in my room. The sun's already setting. The 4th day is over. So we did less girl meetings, but we did an extra search. I think it's time for a nice shower and some good sleep today. I need to take care of myself physically and mentally to the best of my abilities. I think about everything as the hot water rushes down my skin. If I'm to leave this place as soon as the 9th day starts, then I only have 4 days left, actually. I think it's time to go through the evidence I've collected so far and find someone who sticks out. Which one of you's real? I mumble to myself under the shower. After the refreshing shower, I wrap myself in my blanket. I need a break. I'm talking both body and mind. I close my eyes. I'll think about it more tomorrow. We don't have time for a break, man. We got shit to do. If we want to survive, that is. I think surviving's a bit more important than, you know, chilling out right now. You can chill out all you want on the 3rd if we're still alive. The sound of my phone vibrating wakes me up. I don't get up immediately and instead opt to stare at the ceiling and sigh. Getting up would mean having to start the day. I should close my eyes. Convince myself to sleep just a little bit longer. I'll just sleep through it all. And once I wake up, things will be over, no matter how they play out. I have to get up. Ordering my body to follow through, I raise myself up. I grab my phone right after waking up. There's a message that reads 4 days until the selection. Only 4 days left. I drop my phone and barely manage to catch it. Another text. No way. Abandoned village. My body stiffens and I shudder. Does that mean there's another murder? This is the 3rd time already. But getting used to these brutal, messy scenes is simply not possible. I can't avoid it. I have to go there myself. It feels like my own feet are trying to stop me. Damn it. Isolated and all alone. The constant fear of imminent death in just a few days. Coupled with the fact that only one person in this village is telling the truth. It's amazing that my mind hasn't shattered into a million pieces yet. Anyway, I have to move now. I'm still tired with my mind barely functioning. The 5th day has begun. At the counter, the motel owner greets me with a big smile on his face. Headed somewhere important so early in the morning? How much does the motel owner know? Maybe he's a spy for the evil entity I encountered. Or maybe he is the entity himself. I don't know what to believe anymore at this point. I'm just going for a walk. A walk. It's nice out there, isn't it? The less fog there is, the more beautiful it all looks. Yeah, that's right. I put on a weak, forced smile and walk past the motel owner. He smiles back at me, moving his head, and looking right at me until the very last second. I don't like it. I arrive at the abandoned village. The thick fog covers everything, making it hard to see. I sigh. I start looking around the site for the site of the murder somewhere. I walk around for a good 5 minutes, give or take. Ew! The sudden smell of blood stops me in my tracks. I should get used to this, but the mere thought of it tests my resolve. I was feeling different from simple fear. It's more akin to rejection. To be a witness to someone's death There's something one can never really actually get used to. My right leg is almost paralyzed from the fear. I give it a hard slap, let the pain revitalize me and move on. I can do this. I take slow and careful steps and make my way toward the smell. And there it is. Yikes. This one's bloody. This is the site of the third murder. Once alive, the body now lifeless and solid white, never to move again. A wound which is the cause of death, blood that stains the surroundings, and weird traces all around it. I try to shake my dark feelings with a small sigh. Compassion won't bring the dead back now. I need to focus on finding the information I need. Let's do it. I sigh, take out my phone and open the camera app. I should make a record of the most obvious things first. The light from my phone illuminates my surroundings. Now then, I should take a look around. How terrible. I can't imagine the kind of pain this man must have felt. There are deep wounds all over his body. Each wound is so deep it can't simply be ignored. The victim must have felt tremendous pain. I finish the examination of the body. I look at the strange drawing in blood. This is the demon's passageway, or summoning circle. This is where monsters and demons appear when summoned, which explains the scene of slaughter that followed. Who the hell am I dealing with here? I stare at the summoning circle for a while and make sure I take notes. I spot a board in the corner. I know this language. It's the ancient language of demons. Ancient demon language. It's as if suddenly I know a language I've never heard before. Kinda creepy. I write down the letters. I discover a hidden piece of paper. What is this, a suicide note? It definitely is a suicide note. It seems to have been written by a religious person planning to become a martyr. The person who wrote this was terrified. It's hard to understand what he was writing about, but I make sure to make a note of everything. I open a large metal case. Dust rises up. This hasn't been opened in ages. I peer inside the case, my throat still itching from all the dust. However, there's nothing inside. This whole near-asthmatic experience was for nothing. I angrily close the case and get back up. A suspicious wooden box stands out. It's like it's begging me to open it. I take a closer look. The box is completely empty. Oh, come on, you're going to be kidding me. A strange-looking doll is hanging from the ceiling. It was hung up by its neck. I have a bad feeling about this. Considering what this might mean, I take notes on the doll. Alright, that should be enough evidence. Alright, let's just check out the case information so we can quickly write stuff off. Undead is a monster of fear and fox spirit is a monster of fear. Ancient language, so we can get rid of fox spirit. Good. Ariok's way. Rejects Ariok's way, so it's not succubus this time. First time we can write succubus off. Summoned with dolls is good. Summoned by animal sacrifice, that one's off. Brutalized. Undead does brutalizing. And location is village. So undead's looking like the culprit here, probably. Seeing one of these is vampire and one of these is succubus. It pretty much only leads undead. But we'll leave it for now. After another quick look around, I walk away from the scene with hasty steps. Leaving the place where a person died makes me feel weak and hopeless. What's extremely painful is the thought that one of the women I'm meeting with is the culprit responsible for the heinous deed. But one of them is definitely an innocent human. I have to find out who and build up trust with her. Let me think about this. I think about who could be the human while slowly walking away. Oh man, we don't have time for this. But it hasn't saved in a bit, has it? Alright, we're gonna have to. So I'm thinking Budin is the culprit there, so we can pretty much write off Mina, Nadi, and Budin. So Sumi and Hana are the only ones left, really. Should we try talking to Hana? Okay, I should go see Hana. While walking through the abandoned village, I think about how things currently are with Hana. Hana and I ultimately share the same goal, finding out what's behind the disappearances as well as this religion. With a shared common goal, establishing trust shouldn't be too difficult. However, Hana isn't telling me everything and is clearly keeping some things to herself. It could be a simple case of her not trusting me enough yet. But maybe there just isn't more information available currently. Then there's also the possibility that she's merely disguising herself as a real human, obscuring her true form. Lost in thought? Jesus fucking Christ! Jeez. What's with the surprise face? Hannah casts an incredulous glance at me. And starts looking for something in her bag. I stare at Hannah while holding my heaving chest. Come on. She can clearly see what state she's put me in. Would it kill her to say a simple, "Are you okay?" Did you come across any new information? No, nothing at all. I did actually find out quite a few things, but I don't feel comfortable mentioning them. Honestly, it's hard to figure out the right approach for gathering information. We agreed to investigate Hope Hill Village, but we never decided on a clear direction. For example, how about the connection between what you're doing and the disappearance case I'm working on? I can tell she's a little puzzled by my statement. I only had to mention the word disappearance and her interest is immediately sparked. Maybe we have something in common that she hasn't told me about yet. A connection, well, I was going to tell you about this eventually. Would you mind taking a look at this? Huh? What is that? I take the notebook that Hannah hands me. It's a fairly worn notebook with a lot of stains on it. These are all my notes on the case. Like a case log? Yes, every single detail I found is in there. Hannah appears to have made up her mind. Her hesitancy from our last meeting is gone and she's decided to share everything. She finally warmed up to me. Huh? Oh, I mean... Hannah blushes a little upon hearing my playful remark. Maybe she really hadn't realised how obvious her distrust had been previously. I smirk a little and open the notebook. Alright, here's a summary of what Hannah's notes contain. Hannah's father, named Takyung Sehi, ran a sushi restaurant with Sung Yun Kwon, who's his best friend and former middle school classmate. August 8th. Right before their day off, the two get into an argument. The Kunda Takyung had merely a small fight about some work-related stuff. August 9th. With the restaurant closed for the day, Hannah's father, Takyung, spends the whole day at home. August 10th. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Takyung is woken by the sound of the phone ringing. The phone is from Sung Hyun's wife. According to her, Sung Hyun hasn't come home yet. Takyung, concerned about his friend's disappearance, goes looking for him. He even keeps the restaurant closed. However, Sung Hyun is nowhere to be found, and the disappearance gets treated as a missing persons case. 1 month later, September 11th. Hannah's father, Takyung, after the break, reopens the sushi restaurant. A regular, who happens to be a news reporter, finds out about Sung Hyun's disappearance while inquiring about the temporary closure. Up until then, it seems the reporter has assumed the reason for the closure was simply to take time off. September 14th. The reporter, while hiking along a trail he frequents, spots a shiny object off the beaten path. While most people would simply overlook it, the reporter's curiosity is piqued. It's a sashimi knife from Takyung's restaurant, with blood on both the blade as well as the ground around it. From that point on, everything changes rapidly. The reporter deems the case as more than just a disappearance, and reports everything to the police. Upon evidence analysis, the knife is found to be Takyung's, and the blood in it is Sung Hyun's. On top of that, only their fingerprints are found on the knife. This is what happened next. The reporter then starts to focus on the fact that the two men had an argument the day before Sung Hyun's disappearance. He focuses explicitly on Takyung's activities around that time. The reporter's digging shows that Hannah's father does not have an alibi for the day in question, and that he even has a past criminal record. He finds out that Takyung has actually been sentenced in the past for murder. The reporter makes headlines with these findings, causing the public opinion to become biased, and the police, pressured by all this, are forced to treat it as a potential murder case. The reporter then keeps making multiple follow-up reports. His reports, however, are all unwarranted suspicions and provocative slander about the suspect, Takyung. In the end, the public is all but convinced Takyung is the culprit, and he is brought to a detention centre as the main suspect. This reveal makes things a lot more complicated. What happened to Hannah's father, Takyung, is a highly complex matter, and one that I actually happen to be familiar with. It was a widely reported case that made the news. I'm sure you heard of it. Hannah sounds bitter and defeated. Like Hannah says, the case is actually quite famous. The names and details of those involved aren't well known to the public. For a short time, this case attracted a massive attention. A person who served time for committing another murder, the type of drama people crave. It was covered by the very same journalist I respect. You helped me get back on my feet when no one else would. Reporter Hosuk Cho. Hosuk, I heard about the case. You really managed to snag a big one with that. It's insane. The #1 story on every search engine. Don't you want to celebrate that? Despite my energetic excitement, Hosuk responded with the same neutral expression as always. Well, thank you, but this is just the beginning, you know? I remember how jealous I was. I'm a reporter just like Hosuk, chasing that one big story. And although I congratulated him, and have always admired his tenacity, I never stopped thinking, what if I'd been a regular at that sushi place? What if I'd been the one to cover that case? I've asked myself that quite a lot. It's true, I envied him. I was jealous. Maybe he's the murderer, and he just did it so he'd have a cool scoop. Jealous of the reporter, the report that had made Hana's father an outcast. Hana, you're 100% convinced of your father's innocence? If you're implying I only think so because we're family, stop it right now. I have a very good reason for trusting my father's alibi. I was with him. I keep my mouth shut and don't say anything, out of admiration for Hosuk Cho. I want to believe in his scoop, I want to protect his legacy. But Hana's conviction is a lot stronger than I could have ever assumed. That day that Sung-Yun disappeared, I was staying at home together with my father. My father usually sleeps when he's at home. He only gets up occasionally to drink some water or eat. That proved to be a problem. It's hard to claim you were at home when you can't say what you were doing. Ultimately, the only proof of him having been at home was my one-sided testimony. Hana is Tak-young's daughter, direct family. Granted, not all family testimonies are outright ignored, but there is an incredibly strict focus on clear evidence and rationality in these cases. Hana's testimony seems to have been unconvincing. I see. So you believe he's innocent? Or rather, you actually know he is. That's why I've taken it upon myself to investigate Sung-Hyun's disappearance. If it turns out he's alive, then that would prove my father's innocence. I started looking into everything he's been up to. I focused on Sung-Hyun's behaviour, changes in his daily routine, any irregularities. I found the circumstances to be highly unusual, which is what ultimately led me all the way here. Unusual circumstances? Please go ahead and check the next page. I stopped thinking about Hosuk Cho for now, and instead focused on the actual case itself. Curious and armed with new insight into the case, I turned the notebook's next page. Unlike the previously well-organised entries, everything from here on seems to be scribbled notes and findings without a clear structure. Kinda difficult to make sense of. Let me explain. A week before disappearing, he insisted on wearing all white clothes. Oh. This isn't difficult for me at all. All these keywords stick out like a sore thumb to me. Everything resembles the case I'm chasing. He would have been away on a regular basis every 2 months, and he's been acting strange. Has he ever mentioned anything about bathing? Bathing? I'm not sure, sorry. That's probably something he's been highly concerned about. And I can't find detailed descriptions of the blood. The amount found at the time must have been quite small, right? That's right. I lift my head and look at Hana, whose tone of voice has changed. She's looking at me with a surprised face. I wonder why. Because of the bathing story? I tilted my head a little and looked back at the notebook again. What's this part? Let me see. Oh, that's actually a map drawn by Sung-Hyun himself. I see it's a map of the area. And that sign right there. That marks where you can enter. I see. I need to sort all my thoughts for a moment. The disappearance of Tak-young's friend, Sung-Hyun, shares an awful lot of similarities with the missing persons case I'm investigating. So much so that it's pretty much the same, actually. Regularly leaving, strange behaviour, an obsession with bathing and wearing white clothes, and a tendency for self-harm before disappearing. Sounds like a cult to me. I can only conclude that Sung-Hyun's disappearance is a piece of the puzzle of the case I'm working on. You asked me about the bloodstains before, so I take it there's something similar in your case. Hana's voice coming from right next to me pulls me out of my thoughts and back to reality. Actually, she's getting a bit too close for my liking. Yes, yeah. There were signs of self-harm. So the wounds were self-inflicted. Hana looks troubled and lost in thought. Maybe it's because her father was labelled a murderer, based on traces that actually stem from self-harm. I'll wait for her to process all this new information. Excuse me. Ever since I stumbled across that crime scene with you, I knew something was going on. Something bigger than a simple disappearance. We have a totally different case in our hands here. Got any guesses? You mentioned something about Sung-Hyun and a strange religion. He never stood out much, an ordinary guy really. I only found out he was a member of some strange cult after he went missing. Now first of all, We need to find out if any of the missing persons you're looking for are actually here. Do you happen to remember the faces of the missing persons? We want to compare them to the villagers around here. That's going to be, let's say, difficult. You wandered around Hope Hill Village yourself. Pretty much everyone here walks around like they're high as a kite, right? You got a good point there. They're hard to recognize. I doubt even I'd recognize my own family members in such a disheveled state. Can you think of any other way? Another way? I think about it all for a moment. Once again, I make the connection to my own case. Missing people? All the missing people were acting strange before they disappeared. If we can find out what's behind that, maybe it can help us figure out what's going on. The white clothes and the bloodstains. But what can that possibly tell us? Think about it. I cross my arms and throw my head back and thought, there has to be a method behind these seemingly random things. I can't find an answer right away. I concentrate even harder. There's got to be something. There simply has to be. Well, why don't you have another look at our list of missing persons? Why the list? You might find some connection you couldn't see before. Oh my god, you're right! Oh, my. What's with the sudden excitement? Members of the religious cult gather here, at Hope Hill Village. They've got to keep membership records around here. No matter how small, every religious institution keeps lists. Oh, I see. Hannah looks surprised. I honestly feel a little flattered. That means if we can find the list, you can check if Sung Yin's name's on there. Hannah got all excited for a second, but is now back to her old, composed self again. Now the next course of action has been decided. I'll check the buildings around the village outskirts. Jin Sung, you can start from inside the village. Alright, let's do it that way. Want to meet back here once we're done with that? Sure. As Hannah speaks, she moves closer toward me and extends her hand. I stare at her hand with a blank expression for a while, unsure if she's going for a shake. Then I awkwardly start holding her hand. It feels cold, but her hand is petite and delicate. My notes, please. Oh, yeah, right, here. Realizing the awkward error of my gentlemanly ways, I hurriedly pull my hand away and give her the notes. Try to lighten up on the mood a little. Sorry? You heard me. Anyway, bye. See you around. Hannah gets up and walks right away right after asking her enigmatic question. I keep looking back at her as she leaves. And after I can no longer see her, I sit down on a nearby stone. I sit there thinking about Hannah's story. Hannah says that she's here to clear her father's name, and I can't help but think of Ho-Suk Cho, who played a crucial role in putting the blame on Hannah's father. I also think that the missing persons case that gave me my drive and journalistic eagerness has a deep connection to what Hannah is investigating. Any respect I had for Ho-Suk Cho in the past is crumbling away. I feel a deep sense of disgust towards myself. I have so many questions about what transpired. There are so many pieces of info here that need arranging. Dozens of thoughts and theories overlap and I'm starting to feel dizzy. I shake my head to rid myself of the onslaught of information. One step at a time. Gotta work on this piece by piece. Mumbling to myself, I walk away from the abandoned village. Devil worship, religious cults, missing persons. This place has all the ingredients for the world's most massive headache. And we are done. Sorry that one ran quite long, but I had to finish that one so it would hit another save point. Because, you know, can't manual save. Anyway, we'll wrap it up here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I think we're getting very close now. Very close. We've pretty much written 3 off. I might be wrong, but who knows. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks again, Alfie, and I'll see you in the next one.